When the market conditions are like this, you really need to learn how to be picky. And that's played a huge factor in my journey of becoming profitable. One thing I don't do is I do not trade during red folder news. What days are you winning on? What days you're losing on? When my stop loss is a certain amount, it's staying at that. I'm not moving it at all or anything. What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, as you can see by the title, this is exactly how I've made $4,000 in 3 days. I'm just going to be talking about a few things that I've been doing that has made me make this money in this type of market, because we all know the markets have been really volatile. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was, just like I mentioned, was that the markets are really volatile right now. And what I'm doing is I'm just looking for higher quality setups, because with the volatility of the market right now, we are going up, down like crazy, but a lot of the levels aren't even getting respected as much. So the setups I have been taking have been really high quality setups, which normally I'm taking high quality setups anyways. I'm never looking for like D setups or anything. I'm looking for A and B plus setups, but for the markets right now, I've been really just sticking to the A plus setups. So that's why I've gone 3-0 this week, and I'm up almost $4,000. When the market conditions are like this, you really need to learn how to be picky, because if you just take every single thing you see, now being picky is going to come with discipline, because a lot of traders, they feel obligated that they have to place a trade every single day in order to be active in the market. And that's not the case at all. I've had so many days where I show up, I look at the charts for 1-2 hours, and I don't place a single trade at all. That is a part of being disciplined. That is a part of being picky, because sure, there's probably a few setups I've seen where I could have just pressed buy, sell, and hoped to make money, but those weren't the exact setups I was looking for. I had to be picky. And that's played a huge factor in my journey of becoming profitable. Without being picky, I wouldn't have made $4,000 this week. And keep in mind, it's only Wednesday, so I'm curious to see what we end the week at. So the second thing I wanted to talk about was I'm being patient and I'm waiting for the setups to come to me, which is something I've done for the longest time. That's one of those big things that took me from that unprofitable to profitable stage. But I'm waiting for the setups to come to me. A lot of people, they're trying to just scalp some profits, or they're trying to just be in the market like we just talked about. This is going to piggyback off being picky about your setups. You need to be picky and you need to be patient and let those setups come to you. If I don't see anything, I'm not placing a trade. I've taken 3 setups this week, and that has been plenty. You can see those 3 setups have made me almost that $4,000. So that's why when you don't see anything, don't force any trades. A lot of beginner traders and a lot of traders that have been trading for 1-2 years that are trying to get to that next level, but they can't, and they don't realize that them not being picky and looking for those A plus setups, and them not letting price come to their setups, they're just trying to be in, out all day long. That's what's going to stop a lot of you guys from being profitable. You need to have a game plan every day before you get into the market and you look at those charts. You need to find levels and let the price get right up to those levels, and right when it taps into that, go ahead, set your take profit, your stop loss, enter, and then let the trade play out. Let it do its thing. Don't micromanage it to where you're up, $150, and now you're getting scared it's going to reverse, so you go ahead and close. Don't let that happen to you. Don't be that type of trader. Or on the other side, you're in, let's say, $600 in the red, and you're hoping that the trade's going to come back down, flip to green, but now you are just letting the trade run and run because you're hoping that it's going to flip, right? Well, most of the time, what that's going to lead to is just a blown account and you losing more money. So do not be that trader. Do not let that happen. Third thing is, I manage my risk very well, especially in these type of market conditions. I have a set stop loss. I do not let my losses get any bigger than what my stop loss is. That's what I'm comfortable with losing. So there's no reason for me to hold past it to see if it returns to the green or anything like that. If I have my stop loss set at $500, no matter what, it is going to be at that $500 mark. I'm not going to move it up to $600 or $700 to give my trade a little more breathing room. No, when my stop loss is a certain amount, it's staying at that. I'm not moving it at all or anything. The only way I move it is when I get to like TP1 and I go ahead and move my stop loss to break even, but I will never move my stop loss higher to give my trade more breathing room or anything like that, because most of the time that's just going to lead to you losing more. And something I've been doing for a while now is having multiple multiple take profit levels. That has helped me majorly in my journey by securing profits along the way. Because one thing you do not want to happen to you, let's say, for example, you're risking $1,000. You do not want to be, let's say, $800 or $1,000, let's say, into profit, and the trade goes all the way back down and ends up taking you at stop loss or anything like that. Here's what I did, and you can try this too. When the trade gets to TP1, I go ahead, take some profit, and then I move my stop loss to break even. And then when it gets to TP2, I go ahead, trim one more contract. If I'm trading with like 3 contracts, let's say, I'll trim that contract at TP2. So what that's doing is I'm securing profits along the way, and I'm giving myself that buffer by having my stop loss at break even, that if the trade hits TP1 and then goes back to my break even and stops me out, I would secure a little bit of profits right there. I didn't let it go all the way to TP1, get greedy, and then let it run back all the way to stop loss. No, I'm taking profits at TP1, 2, 3, 4, securing money as we go, and then I'm managing my risk by having that stop loss at break even. That is something that's going to take you to that next level. Remember, the reason we trade is to make money. Don't be that person that gets greedy and wants to have $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 in a day every single day or anything like that. Don't be aiming for the stars. Remember, the small profits add up, especially when you're a beginner trader and stuff. Those small profits are going to add up. If you make $50 today, $30 on, the next day, and then maybe $150, you're already having good profits like that. Notice how those small profits are going to add up. So make sure you guys are managing your risk tightly, and then just make sure you're securing profits along the way just in case the market reverses or anything like that. All right, the third and probably last thing I'm going to mention for this video is I'm very cautious about red folder news. Every morning before I even look at the charts, I get on Forex Factory and I look at the news we have for the day. One thing I don't do is I do not trade during red folder news. Let's say red folder news is coming out at 10 a.m. I will not be in a trade, let's say at 9:50 all the way until probably like 10:05, 10:10. Just for the sole fact, red folder news could be way too risky. Yeah, some traders say, oh, you can make a lot of money during red folder news, blah, 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 but you can also lose money very fast and you can lose a lot of it. The market's going to give you plenty of good quality setups when there's no red folder news. So that's why I personally wait. I see red folder news as too much of a risk. So I haven't traded during red folder news in probably like 2.5 years. So that's something you guys should get in the habit of doing. Every morning before you get on the charts, go to Forex Factory, or there's some other websites. I'm sure I just use Forex Factory, and look and see what the economic news is for that day, because you do not want to get caught up in red folder news, or if you don't pay attention to it now, you need to start paying attention to it, because that red folder news could have some crazy volatility coming in, and you do not want to be trapped in that. Knowing when the news is coming out is an advantage to you. There's no disadvantage. It takes 3 minutes during the morning, and now you know what to expect for the day. And I know some people are going to be asking me about it because they always ask on my Instagram story. The strategy I use is supply and demand. Supply and demand has been a crazy good strategy for me. Ever since I started trading supply and demand, that is what took me to the next level. That's when I started seeing more winning setups. I started seeing more profitability, more payouts, stuff like that. Now, I did trade support and resistance before, and that was a good strategy. I know people that trade support and resistance that make plenty of money, but for me, it just felt like I was always missing something, and whenever I found supply and demand, it really clicked. Now, I know a lot of people trade fair value gaps and stuff. I've personally never even looked into fair value gaps. I've never tried anything. But I do know some people that trade fair value gaps and they make really good money. That is the importance of, there's a lot of winning strategies out there. You just need to find what works best for you. And remember, what works best for someone else might not work best for you. So that's why it's always an important thing to make sure you try the strategy, but make sure you try it in depth and for a good period of time. Don't be one of those people that try a strategy just for, let's say, 1 week. They don't see crazy good results and now they're moving on to the next strategy. That is what's called strategy hopping. And if you strategy hop, you're most likely never going to find a good strategy and you're never going to be profitable, because the strategies that are good the ones you're using, you're not even giving enough time. So that's why you need to make sure you give your strategy that you're trying plenty of time. Make sure you back test it countless hours, forward test it countless hours, and keep a journal to keep track of everything. And that is going to bring me actually to the last thing we're talking about today, and that is journaling your trades, journaling everything. Journaling took me to that next level because when I was not journaling, I would just be done on the charts, close my computer, shut it down, whatever, and I'm done for the day. But when I started journaling, that's when I would write down my winners, my losers, the setup that I took that day, and my emotions that came with it. And when you do that every single day, by the time you know it, you're going to have 3-4 months worth of data on how you feel each and every day. What days are you winning on? What days you're losing on? And all that information is very, very vital when it comes to your journey. So for an example, I wasn't journaling for a while. Then when I started journaling, I was writing down all the days, my wins, losses, when I wasn't taking trades. And I found out that on Mondays, I was really not placing any trades, and I didn't realize that before because I just wasn't even paying attention. But when I started keeping track of everything, I realized that Mondays, I wasn't really seeing any setups and I was playing more defense and offense. Now, when it came to the days I won the most, that was normally Wednesdays and Thursdays. And then my days that I lost the most were Fridays. So see, all that data actually benefited me because now I knew, okay, Mondays, I'm not really trading these days too much. So let's see if we have really high quality setups to take. And then I knew my other days were going to be my better days. Now, another thing is, remember when I just said you can write down your emotions as well, how you were feeling that day when it came to looking at the charts, how you were managing the stress, how you were managing the trade. That's going to be very important too, because you might not realize it now, but when you start writing all that stuff, let's say, oh, while I'm in a trade, I notice I'm cutting my profits way too fast and I'm letting my losers run way too long and I'm just blowing my accounts. That's something you're writing down, and when you see you're writing that same thing down over and over and over again, now it's forced into your brain. You are recognizing it. Now you just need to change it. And now you're going to go ahead and be able to change that because now you're recognizing one of your mistakes. A lot of people, when they're not keeping track of anything, they don't even recognize the mistakes they're making. It's something so simple that takes a few minutes a day, but a lot of people do not do. But I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, guys. If you guys like the video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at OAlexZ. Click the link in my bio if you want to trade live with me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.